Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, a blue dot in a red state, utilizing Tarot to offer insight into these very interesting times we have going on here. And so I'm really glad that you're here and welcome. I also want to do a quick shout out to all the new subscribers. Thank you for stopping by. That Vance video really took off. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here. And yeah, check out some of my other readings, some of my other videos. And yeah, welcome to everyone. The focus of today's reading is going to be about the Ukrainian-Russian war. Now that we've had those two meetings in Alaska, at least I think it's still considered part of the United States, Alaska, and also the European leaders with Zelensky meeting in DC. So now that we've had those meetings, I want to do a follow-up and look into kind of where things are right now. Some of my notes that I have here is I want to know, how is Zelensky and the allies feeling now that they've had that meeting. And the other thing I want to look at is Vance now apparently is leading the discussions with Marco Rubio and Steve Witkoff. So that's, I want to do two base readings into both of those things and kind of see where they go. So I think I'm going to start with Zelensky and the allies and how they're feeling. Zelensky and the allies is a much nicer energy to read on than Vance and Putin. Imagine that. Okay, so for entertainment purposes only, I want a base reading into how does President Zelensky and the European allies feel now that they've had this meeting in DC. How are they feeling with this? Okay, and real quick, I have my Morgan Greer deck today that I'm using for this reading. The here and now, the center of this is the Judgment card. This is the Pluto card. This is the People Rise Up. I love this card in the Robinwood deck. I had forgotten that it was the Phoenix rising out of the ashes, and that applies here so well. It's this feeling of, it's almost like a sigh of relief, honestly, is what I'm feeling with this. It's like, okay, and if you notice, they kind of quartered him in that meeting. They, had to go around, he went around the table saying everything he liked about each of the leaders, not recognizing even where some of them were, but then they had to go around and they used their time in, each one of them had picked one of those points out that Zelensky had as far as his conditions. He doesn't want to concede any land. He wants there to be a ceasefire, and he doesn't, and then the NATO membership with security guarantees. So and they just really reiterated that. There was not any backing down or acquiescing from those statements and of what he wants. And yeah, here I'm saying the challenge now is they have stated what is acceptable, what their terms are, what they want. And that is coming up in the challenge position of getting what they want, getting those list of demands met. Sorry. I'm thinking when I do these readings, a lot of times I have several different thoughts coming in. I actually have spirit guides telling me one thing, and then I'm having to put those feelings into actual, words. So yeah, they met would be the appropriate verb to use there. The options is winning at all costs. And this card always, I see disappointment also in this card. The people have just walked away, and this person's even won at all costs, and like, what did they win? So with this, I'm feeling like they're not going to get all that they want, and they know that. So let's see where else this goes. The Foundation, the Four of Swords, State of Rest. and not moving forward. I think that they are going to be really, with both of these cards together, they're going to be very strong in their resolve to really get as much of this as they want. They're not giving up land. They're not giving up. They want and expect for Russia and Putin to give up more than what Ukraine has given up, since Russia's the one who started this war. There we go. Okay. That's the feeling of this card. They expect Putin to give up more than what Zelensky's going to give up. The recent influence, this is a card of going forward. I think this is the leaders showing up in DC, and that strong show of force and partnership and allies with President Zelensky. That did not go unnoticed. That was a powerful show of force and commitment for them. Because remember, if Russia is allowed to take over, big parts of Ukraine, then Poland is next. Finland, Europe sees the writing on the wall, and they're trying to put a stop to it now. They don't want to have to deal with this, with Poland, because then that's NATO. So let's put a stop to this before Putin reaches into Europe any further. And the potential and the outcome here is Knight of Swords, racing forward. This is action. I don't always see this as action that has been well thought through. So let me see what this potential action is. And they could just really be worried that Trump is going to do something irrational. Imagine that. I think that worry would be well-founded. So more about the Knight of Swords. And I think I want to ask about this too. The Five of Swords and the Knight of Swords. What do we need to know more about the Five and the Knight here? This is needing to overcome, or positioning yourself to where you can overcome. Messages, the peace talks. So, and this is typically a happy card, a celebration card. What I'm feeling with this is Trump, got stuck on that word trilat. So that is something that they agree to, because we've not had Putin and Zelensky sitting down yet together. Everything has been one country or the other country. So let me look at this real quick. Winning at all costs, rash action. I almost feel like this is pushing Trump into making that rash decision of that meeting. Because I don't know that Putin would have agreed to that at all. But this feeling that Trump had to save face in front of those leaders and show that he's strong and he's in control. I think this is that trilat meeting that are they going to get that? Because they were pretty clear in their list, their conditions. Are they going to get that meeting? Things are stuck, things are restricted, but then very quickly. And then you get the blocked card, or needing to make choices. Who is this needing to make choices? Well, I am asking from the European leader's point of view. So what is this? Ending, secrets, and things up in the air. Okay, they have, let me put some of these, I'm going to put those right there. With this, I'm going to stick with they really pushed Trump into making like that rash decision, that rash action of calling for that trilateral meeting. And now they're going to be pushing for it. They're like, no, that's what you said. That's what we will do that. Because that really is what they're wanting. in addition to their list of demands. So when I asked more about like this celebrating, and also the 3 here for that trilateral meeting, and then I get things being stuck very quickly, needing to make choices. I also see this as something being blocked. So when I asked about that, things coming to an end, secrets, the answers are there, but they're hidden, and then up in the air. Things are up in the air. I think that what this is indicating is they have said that they want that trilat meeting. They have agreed to that meeting. And then it looks like there's movement, and then very quickly it's blocked. Things are up in the air. I don't think that Putin is going to agree to this. Because remember, he really doesn't want the war to end. He wants to gain Ukraine and then keep on moving through Europe. So I don't think that he is going to agree to that. Let me just ask, is this Putin? Is Putin going to agree to that trilateral meeting? Is he going to agree to that? This is one of 6 of Pentacles, money. What can you give me? Partnerships, and then here the 2 with partnerships and battle weary. I'm getting the feeling with this that Putin does. When I say the feeling I get from Putin is that he wants this war to be over, it's not that he wants the war to be over. He just wants Ukraine. That's the feeling I'm getting from this. Like, give me what I want. That's our agreement. And I'm tired of waiting. Oh my gosh, that's actually what that is. Jeez. I was trying to make this be, okay, is this about rare earth minerals? Is this about the United States doing something? It's like, no. Just read what it is. I want Ukraine. And I was asking from Putin's point of view when I put these cards out. Wanting Ukraine, that's the agreement. And I'm tired of waiting, battle weary. Okay, so that's where that's going. I want to know, so to recap, let me come up here. To just recap here what Zelensky and the allies are feeling. They feel pretty good about how that meeting went in DC. They had their very strict list of demands which supported Ukraine. They were able to push Trump into agreeing to this trilateral meeting, which Putin doesn't really want at all. And so Putin, he sees peace talks, and it's really weird because I'm sitting here going, he doesn't want the war to end. He doesn't want peace talks. He just wants Ukraine. That's it. He wants Ukraine. And then he wants to keep moving. So there's no, unless he's going to get Ukraine, there's no incentive there for him to have any more meetings. That's really the feeling I'm getting from that. So I'm going to now look into what is Vance, what the hell is Vance doing? But more specifically, he is now leading these discussions. And I do kind of want to know, how does Putin feel about that? He doesn't have his old buddy Trump there. So from Russia's point of view, and really, it's really sad whenever I say I'm going to be putting the United States over in the Russia column right now, but Putin is talking to the United States. He's not talking to any of the European leaders or Zelensky. So that is part of that right there, but we kind of know that the United States, I see the United States on the fence. However, they definitely are leaning more towards Russia, which is, we side with democracy, or we're supposed to. So from Putin's point of view, and also Vance is now leading the discussions. Let's see. I want to know about Vance. I really want to know about Vance leading these discussions. What in the world? And Marco Rubio and Steve Witkoff are all part of that. So what's going on? How is this going to go? Base reading with Vance. and Russia. Okay, with Vance, this is going to be the Empress, which is going to be a country, either Mother Russia, or this could also be, I would see this also as Ukraine because they're the breadbasket of the world. So let me keep going and see which country this is. The challenge is, the Tower card. This is, how do we keep this from falling apart? How do we keep this from being a continued complete disaster? That's what that is. Also, I will say that as I'm recording this, right before I started recording, I saw the news that Russia bombed Kyiv and bombed an American factory over there. So that is probably not going to help on the peace talks as far as the United States being very happy with Russia. So the challenge is the Tower card, but since this is coming up in the Tower card, that's why I'm saying the challenge is to keep this from falling apart. Okay. Still don't know who this is. Okay, I haven't forgot about it, just don't know who that is yet. King of Pentacles. This is the wealthy man. And I usually read this as the oligarchs, could be Congress. So let me keep going here. Magician. Putting it all out on the table. This is the foundation of wanting really to create something new. This is the oligarchs. I think the oligarchs in Russia are getting kind of tired of this war. That's what this is. They're tired of the fighting. They want this to come to a stop. And the Wheel of Fortune. What goes around comes around. Okay. They're ready to move on from this war. So that's not really Putin so much as it is about the oligarchs. If you come back here in the center, this really could be either country. Either, Russia's economy is coming to is crashing down, and how do we prevent that from, how do we prevent that from happening? The oligarchs are really tired of this war, and they're ready to move on from this. So what role will the oligarchs play? Because I was asking about Vance. This is not Vance. This is not Vance. Unless it's the people propping Vance up. If it's the oligarchs propping him up, that could be what that is. Let me see. Is this the oligarchs propping Vance up? And they're ready for this. They really are ready to move on from this. Whose oligarchs are these? Are these the United States oligarchs, or is these the Russian oligarchs? You have Russia. I think it's Russia. Yeah. Because this is going to be more of my Ukrainian card because of the sunflower. And I have read that in the past. So you have, this is going to be Putin is looking to take Ukraine, and he's going to be happy about it. That's what he wants. However, the oligarchs do not want this. They are ready for this to move forward and to move on from this war, because those sanctions are just really tanking the Russian economy. Since they're wanting the sanctions lifted, I'm going to ask, is that going to be part of the deal of what Vance negotiates? Is he going to come back with, we need to lift the sanctions? Decisions being made, hopes, wishes, and dreams. And I was asking about what the oligarchs want. And he says that that's what they want. But I don't see that happening. I don't see that moving through. That's going to be something that, why does it not move through? There's that winning at all costs card again, holding on to power and negotiations. I think that the United States, believe it or not, is actually going to use that as a negotiation tactic to get Russia to the table to talk. That's what I'm feeling here. They want those sanctions to be lifted, but they're not going to get lifted until they come to the table. That is surprising to me. I just assumed that Vance would give Russia whatever they wanted, which is Ukraine. That's what Russia wants, is Ukraine. So let me do a base reading into how Vance is going to be doing in his little quest that Trump has sent him out on. Honestly, and I say that it feels like Vance gets a big boy assignment and that Trump doesn't have to take responsibility. It's all Vance's fault. If you've noticed, Trump says, I don't know anything about that. I'll have to ask so-and-so, or my lawyer said it was legal for me to do this. Everything he does, there's always somebody else that he can throw under the bus. So is Vance going to be successful, or is he going to get thrown under the bus with this? What's going on with Vance and these peace talks? And I'll be wrapping it up with this last question. Vance in these peace talks. Very quickly, the challenge is he's feeling left out. He's feeling out in the cold. He can't get this deal done. And remember, it's because Putin will only accept Ukraine. That's it. That's his only list, his only thing that he wants out of these. I say peace talks, but coming from Putin's viewpoint, they are not peace talks. They are land grab talks. That's what that is. And that Vance is not going to be successful. He's going to try to overcome. He has difficulties. It's almost like he's offering the foundation of this. The foundation is the Ace of Cups. I wonder if this is, we can give you part of what you want. You want the sanctions lifted, but you have to, and I'm basing that off that Two of Cups. That last spread that I did showed that Putin actually is not going to get the sanctions lifted until he agrees to something. Okay, and that's not what Putin wants. And Vance is not going to be able to get that done. No. And this is, I'm almost feeling like this walking away from it. Is the United States going to walk away? Which Trump has threatened to do. You know, if the peace talks don't get done, then Trump can't get his Nobel Peace Prize. He's not getting a Nobel Peace Prize, by the way, even if this war were to stop. If you have concentration camps in your country, that kind of that should be the fast track to no, you don't get a Nobel Peace Prize. So what's going to happen with this Six of Swords? Is this the United States walking away? Offering something, traditionally this is my yes card, not being happy with what's being offered or the answer that you're getting. This is offering, I think something of substance is going to be offered. Putin is not going to agree to it, and looking out into the future, what else can I get? So no, I don't think anything less than handing Ukraine over to Russia, Putin is not going to agree to. And I, believe it or not, don't see Vance agreeing to that. The oligarchs, interestingly enough, came up in this reading, and they wanted to stop. Their economy is suffering, they're losing money, and they want this to stop. I feel like Trump just, I've been debating on whether or not to do another Trump health reading because of some things that have happened recently. And I think I am, because the feeling I'm getting from Trump is he's washed his hands of this to this point. But if there was going to be any kind of peace treaty signed, they would trot him out so he could have his reality show moment in front of the world. But I just don't see that happening. No, not until Ukraine. I'm sitting here kind of going through that with that energy. I don't see, they're at an impasse. Ukraine is not standing down, nor should they. And Putin only wants Ukraine. So that's kind of where it is today. A little bit of insight into kind of what is going on here and there. Ukraine standing very strong. European leaders standing very strong. Oligarchs are from Russia are tired of it because they're tired of the sanctions against them. Putin is like blind focus. He only wants Ukraine. That's it. Nothing else is going to convince him otherwise, no matter what Vance says, does, tries. And that's where, and Vance, I get the feeling like Vance and Rubio actually are trying to get some kind of deal brokered, but Putin's not playing. So that's what I get today. Really appreciate you joining me. I will put another reading up here for you to check out. Let's see. I've got that Vance one. If you've not seen the Vance one, I want to put that one up. That actually was a really good reading. I was really happy with that. And then the probably the Zelensky one, that meeting, now that we've had that happen and the afterwards of that. So really appreciate you joining me. Check out some of my other videos, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a good day.